everyone. Welcome back to another Bad Movie Reviews review, hosted by your two favourite blokes from Down Under who are 5 nights away from a deep, dark depression after seeing this monstrosity. Anyway, if you haven't figured out what we are reviewing, it is none other than Five Nights at Freddy's, which is obviously... not obviously. If you don't know, it is based on an incredibly successful video game series, which is basically about these animatronic animals, essentially. That and a security guard who basically watches them. Look, I'll be honest, I don't know much into... I've played the game a little bit. I don't know much in terms of the lore or that side of things. I'm purely reviewing this as a film. Daniel probably will go into a little bit more depth. He's played the video games. He knows a little bit more in the lore. So his review might be coming from more of a person who is at least knowledgeable, which is an odd one. This might be our 101th review, and this might be the one thing where I reckon Daniel might know more.
Look, most likely.
But speaking of, we've hit the ton. Anyway.
Have we?
We've hit, I think I think The Killer was our 100th video.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So without further ado, by all means... I'm keen to know what you think because obviously, as I said, you know a little bit more, so you might look at it either with a bias, not bias, but like a knowledgeable view, but or you might hate it more than I do.
Okay, there's Ben's review done.
No, I was just kidding.
Well, for any Five Nights at Freddy's fans out there, which there is a few that really enjoy the series overall, it is written, directed, and may have even made an appearance. The old Scott Cawthon. Once again, nice original story by himself. He's the creator of all the games and obviously had a huge influence on this film.
Yeah, Emma Tammy directed the movie, but Scott Cawthon, wrote the actual, screenplay. He
invented the universe.
Yeah.
He's the man that started it all, and there's obviously a lot of spin-offs now that aren't created by him, but he did start this universe, and he's done that pretty well. In this film, however, the directing does look like it takes a little bit over from his kind of originality. But for any of the fans out there, lots and lots and lots of references, lots of noticeable inclusions or cameos. When it comes to the original first site location too, they laid it out pretty much identical with even similar things in similar rooms with similar posters on walls and layouts. So if you're looking for being faithful to the original film, it was definitely some key parts of
the original game. So
yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The original game. There's been that many different now.
I was going to say there's 6 games.
It is based closer towards that first game kind of layout and story and direction. And look, they kept pretty faithful to their fans when it came to the lore side of things. Even some of the story, which took some interesting directions overall, was still kind of in line with, a lot of theories and a lot of stuff that's been confirmed by Scott and some of the lore that, you just get to experience throughout the game too. So that was good. That was good. But I do want to actually quote myself here. Sorry, as I bring up my phone. This is what I sent Ben. I think it was a few days ago, Monday actually. And I just want to say that I predicted the future on this one. So these are my thoughts on this film. Just out of the blue, Monday morning, actually Monday, 4 o'clock. I don't know where that came from. But Five Nights at Freddy's is going to suck. Ben said, why? I said, they've done the same thing they did with Megan. Make a movie PG-13 or M is terrible. For anyone out there, probably had some nice, genuine, terrifying moments out of this. Supposed to be gory, supposed to be horror. You can't make a really scary PG film without making it shit, which is what my thoughts were. And Ben goes, I figured it'd be catered towards kids. And I said, it's pretty disappointing. The lore is quite messed up and the movie should reflect it. And the movie did not. It was actually quite underwhelming when it came to the horror side of things, which is actually the most captivating part about this universe is that uneasiness you get, the tense moments, knowing that something's going to happen and then it doesn't, and then eventually does when you kind of get your guard down after that moment of protection. It really was shy on that. And I think that part of the criticism there is its kind of rating or its target audience. It did go towards that younger crowd, which were interested in it, and didn't really direct towards what it was its strongest moment, which is genuine horror, genuine stuffed up story. The lore is like not appropriate for young audiences, but they try to really tailor it towards it, kind of like they did with Megan, I guess, overall, where it's like, here, let me chop up this really gory film and make it into like kids film.
Which, look, as a business, it makes sense because you're
does.
really like. I mean, if we let's put it this way: we saw this normal release night, not early, and it was probably like actually 50% full.
Yeah.
If the film, which in America, obviously the rating system's different, yours is PG-13, ours is M, which is just for mature audiences, and then it goes up to MA, which is 15 plus, and you have to be 15 over to see it, or you need a parent and guardian to come with you if you're under 15. I would argue that probably 45% of the cinema would not be able to see it.
At least.
At least minimum. So, like, if you think about that, that might be, a couple thousand, and that's just one cinema. In terms of financially, especially if they're wanting to make a series out of this, as you kind of said, it's obviously probably more based on the original game, and there is, kind of like not sequel bait, but like things here and there. It makes sense as a business.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Doesn't make sense when you're trying to make a film based on it, I guess. It's like talking about the Second World War, but we're gonna key aspect is the flower picking.
The thing I actually just think it was a terrible movie.
Yeah,
I actually probably disagree with you in the fact that there have been films that have been rated PG-13 or M, especially recently that
Monster Mansion or whatever it was called.
No, like especially recently. Oh no, that was PG. Like that.
No, but that was scarier than this.
Yeah. So the different thing with, I guess, obviously playing a video game is you are that person. You are controlling that person. So you're actually putting yourself into this situation, right? Whereas obviously watching a movie, you're watching a story get told and portrayed. So you're almost, it's not as you can empathize, but it's I guess not as fully. How do I put it? It's probably not as fully engrossing as a video game situation. But there have been films, especially recently, that have been PG-13, which really mastered. Like the reality is this game has been probably not catered towards. I would argue like pre-teens, like that really like it's rated M. As I've said before, the lore of the game, from my knowledge, is very much almost non-existent unless you do the audio notes or the read the logs and things like that. So like it's actually like all you do is just watch the security
only in the first game.
Correct, which this is probably more based on. But like for instance, most recently we've had PG-13 films of like both A Quiet Places are PG-13. And I wouldn't argue that they're scary, but they are seriously good in terms of tension and suspense, and is something which this film just completely lacked.
Yeah, I definitely do agree with that.
And I mean, I can't remember. I have a list here. Like there are some really good, even Cloverfield, like The Ring, Insidious. The first Insidious is actually a pretty scary movie for its time, which came out like 10, and that's PG-13. Yeah. So it's like they really could have. I don't know if the rating affected the scares so much. I think it was extremely poorly written, poorly directed. They had no. But anyway, that's I'll touch on my review. You continue. Sorry.
This guy. I partly agree and partly disagree with that. The actual scariest parts about the game is the fact that it doesn't matter because you don't really have control. So and this movie didn't.
But that's the thing. That's you being in that situation.
No. Like control. It's like the whole way they do their tension in a game and the tension in their build up to like a scare and actually how they scare you. None of that was in this film. And those things that you could do identical and it would have the exact same effect, and they didn't do any of it.
It's still, though, that you're in that situation, whereas you're watching it unfold. So there is a little bit of detachment from it.
You definitely need to play the games.
I have played the first one, and it's not. I've never found it scary.
I want to touch on anyway. Conversation for later.
But no, that's with video. I mean, you can argue with video games and with anything. like you look at video games and then VR, and there's a whole nother level of attachment and situational engrossing when it comes to VR, because you're more in that reality than playing a video game with a controller.
I understand.
And then playing a video game, watching a movie to playing a video game with a controller, you're the one in control still with the... So it's like, even though they could have done it, I do think that it's just a hard thing to...
Well,
it's a hard thing to adapt, really.
The main point that I was getting out there, and apologies if I've come across as like aggression or anything, but the scares can easily be done identical between the game adaptation and a movie adaptation, and they decided to try something new, and maybe that was to appeal to a different audience, but it's just not where this film would. You could have done the exact same thing and everyone would have jumped into cinema, but they went with something different. The two are actually parallel in this case.
Yeah, I don't think you want to carbon copy the game, though.
No, but I mean, like, that was the strengths. You bring over the strengths, but they're like, here's our strength, let me bake a cupcake. And you're like, what? But anyway, that's our opinion on, I guess, the plot and story and everything overall there. I don't really have much to comment on when it comes to the acting or the audio design or anything like that. It was all pretty average, I think, overall. But I don't think it was complemented by the script. I don't think there was enough to give everyone any opportunity to shine. Josh gave it his best go, but he didn't have anything to support him on this. If Scott put his full voice into writing this, I'm disappointed because it doesn't seem like him. So
it's very different writing a 2-hour-long movie to a game that just repeats itself over and over again.
I agree, but this is not his hand in it. This is like he passed the toast to the guy who put in the toaster that's making the big giant meal for dinner. Like, he's just put his 2 cents in, but that's about it.
Well,
there's probably a range of writers.
He is credited. There's 3 writers, but he is credited. But any film will have 3 writers 90% of the time or more.
Yeah,
unless it's like a Quentin Tarantino.
It doesn't feel like him. But anyway, they're my thoughts. So I'm a little bit underwhelmed, and as I said, I predicted it on Monday that I thought it was going to suck, and my opinion is it does. But Ben, since you're
one of the worst films I've ever seen,
and cut.
No, look, that was a bit rough. I'll start off with the things I liked about it, which is a very short list, so it won't be long. I thought the acting was fine. They did the best they could do with an god-awful script that allowed no character development, allowed no room to empathise with the characters and the situations they're going through. They're all going through pretty fucked situations, but it doesn't allow you to actually digest anything that's going on. So Josh Hutcherson, who I actually really like, I thought he was as good as he could be with what he was given. Matthew Lillard, I actually really enjoy, which you've seen in, obviously the Scream movies or most famously known as Shaggy and Scooby-Doo. And I thought he was fine. And then Elizabeth Layer she was also from You. She plays Genevieve Beck or whatever, the Netflix show. And I thought she was fine with what she could give. But then the script, especially for her character, was like absolutely dog awful. Like you cannot polish a turd. So it's like she did the best she could with what she was given. The animatronics were really cool. I got to give props to the prop department and the animatronics in terms of that side of things. They were all built from scratch. So they did a good job with them. They could have easily done CGI. So I got to give props for that section of it. And in terms of the actual set design and obviously the locations, it was fine. But man, the film is it almost just lacked everything, really. And I don't want to be brutal on it, but it's just simply not good. I've never been probably more bored this year in a movie. It was really, really bad.
Trying to think what came out this
Apart
year.
from the directing was there wasn't anything special in terms of as a director, you got to get the best out of your actors. So I give her props. I give her props for doing that. The director, Emma Tammy, she's obviously got the best out of the actors for what the script gave her. She is credited as a writer though, so maybe she should probably stick to maybe directing or something like that and put all her sort of eggs in that basket. But I don't obviously know the writing situation, but the script, the script, like that's essentially where the film. I mean, we've said this in reviews before. It lives and dies by the script, and if the script's not good or the screenplay's not good, it's just you can only do so much. And some of the writing, as I said, and the character development is just absolutely atrocious. And the way the plot unfolded. As I said, I'm not a Five Nights at Freddy fan by any means, but like the plot was absolutely awful, and I don't know if they're actually adapting it from a game or not, but it's like it did not make for a good movie. Maybe they should not have adapted this into a movie and kept it as a game series, which seems to be working extremely well for them. I'm sure the film will make a lot of money because it has got its fans, and I might be busy the day the second one comes out, so I don't have to watch it. Because it's 2 hours of my life that I will actually never get back. That's how I genuinely feel about this film. It is not
I'm glad
good.
I watched this film though.
I'm not.
Because now I know that I'd never want to see it again.
I'm not
didn't
glad
know
I
that
watched
before.
it. And it does sound very brutal, but it's like the film actually added, like it just gave nothing. You would get a lot more out of playing the games and watching the movie.
Animatronics were the worst part of this film.
You know nothing about scripts.
Yeah, sorry. Both were not Flash. For anyone that's played like a lot of the games, the animatronics were very smooth moving, and that just felt so wrong. But anyway, that's my thoughts. I got enough.
I don't recommend seeing it. There are films out in the cinema that are extremely incredible, good experiences that I recommend watching Killers of the Flower Moon 5 times in cinemas before even giving this a shot, and that's 12 hours, 15 hours of your time. Even The Killer, which I really enjoy, which we saw last night.
Or if you're a younger audience, because that's how this film's
TMNT.
tailored. TMNT, get on it. I've heard Paw Patrol some good things out of that one too. So
No. It is kind of like tonally just a misfire as well. Like it starts off. It starts off almost like a Saw movie, to be honest, which I thought was like, this is interesting. And then it kind of just has comedic factors and goes into a film that's like tailored to kids. And it's just, they really didn't know what they were doing.
nah.
And yeah, if you have seen it, which look, you probably have, let us know what you do think in the comments below. It sounds like I really disliked it, and thought it wasn't great. And it seems like Daniel enjoyed it a little bit more than me. But if you have seen it, comment below, let us know what you think. If you like our review, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.